A 203mm shell does not suppress a position, it deletes it. And Ukraine just added that kind of punch to the front. An old American monster that Russia never planned for, arriving without ceremony, landing right as Moscow tries to grind forward in its spring push. The weapon is the M110, an 8-inch, 203mm self-propelled howitzer. And the moment it starts firing in real numbers, the way Russia stacks troops, trenches, and hardened positions becomes a liability. Ukraine's 52nd Artillery Brigade has now confirmed it is operating the 203mm M110 alongside its other systems, almost casually, like it is just another item on the list. The brigade's own messaging was almost understated. In an April 2nd post, it listed its lineup as Bodana self-propelled howitzers, RM-70 Vampire rocket systems, and the 203mm M110A, like the 8-inch gun was just another tool on the rack. That casual tone is what makes the change dangerous for Russia. Heavy artillery like this is normally introduced with official buildup. Here, it shows up already, folded into a working brigade. That understatement is the point. The M110 is not a side note, it is a battlefield lever. So the first question is not, what can it do? The first question is, how did Ukraine get it at all? The US Army retired the M110 years ago, which is why its appearance in Ukraine feels like it came out of nowhere. But retired does not mean gone, it often means sitting in someone else's depot. In October 2025, reporting said Greece approved a major transfer package routed through Czechia, 60 US-made M110, A2 howitzers, about 150,000 rounds for them, and Zuni rockets, valued around 199.4 million euros. And the deal was not about shiny modernization. The systems were described as going as is, without refurbishment, because the whole logic was speed. Get them to Ukraine, feed them ammunition, and start applying pressure. The ammunition mix is what makes this dangerous. This was not a few shells for testing. The reported package spelled out a spread: 50,000 M106 high-explosive rounds, 40,000 M650 rocket-assisted rounds, and 30,000 each of M509 A1 DPICM and M404 ICM-type munitions. So Ukraine did not just receive the gun, it received the menu, blast, reach, and area effects. That matters because it means the M110 is not arriving as a museum piece, it is arriving as a working toolset. Army Recognition also wrote, Greece has operated the M110A2 since the early 1980s and held roughly 145 units before approving the 60-unit transfer. If that is accurate, more could follow, assuming the remaining guns are in workable shape. But the bigger question is the one people keep asking quietly. Could Ukraine get more M110s through US-linked mechanisms? There is already a pipeline for this kind of thing. NATO's Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, PURL, lets allies fund purchases from US stocks and industry, specifically based on Ukraine's stated needs. In December 2025, NATO said allies and partners had pledged more than $4 billion in equipment and munitions for Ukraine through PURL. So, yes, if Ukraine decides the M110 is worth scaling, and if usable hulls exist, a Pearl-style route is the kind of mechanism that could make it happen. But that immediately raises another question. Where did America's M110 units go? The US built large numbers of M110 units after introducing the system in the early 1960s. Some remain with Allied operators, some were scrapped, and some were consumed in a way that sounds like a myth, except it is real. In the 1990s, the US needed a fast way to build a deep penetration bomb body for the Gulf War. One explanation, widely repeated in open reporting, is that spent 8-inch howitzer barrels were used as casings for early GBU-28 bunker buster bombs. That does not prove large numbers of complete M110 units still sit in US storage, but it does show the system's components were valuable enough to be repurposed into war-winning hardware. Now, set the ifs aside. The more important point is what the M110 actually gives Ukraine right now. Russia has leaned on heavy artillery of its own, including 203mm class systems like the 2S-7 Pion and Malka family. The message of the M110 is not that Ukraine suddenly invented big-caliber firepower. It is that Ukraine can now answer Russia's heaviest habit with a Western-built equivalent and integrate it into a modern drone-scouted battlefield. Every M110 shell is heavy, about 90 kilograms, roughly 198 pounds. That is the kind of impact you feel through earthworks. With rocket-assisted ammunition, the range is commonly cited up to about 30 kilometers. That is enough to reach into assembly areas, support zones, and hardened positions that lighter systems may struggle to crack efficiently. And unlike towed heavy artillery, the M110 sits on a tracked chassis. Mobility matters because survival matters. Shoot, displace, hide, reload, repeat. There are trade-offs, and they are the kind you see with Cold War heavy guns. Crew demand is high. One common layout is a large gun crew, supported by an ammunition carrier following close behind. The gun itself can elevate roughly from -2 to 65 degrees and traverse about 30 degrees left and right, enough to work targets quickly without constantly repositioning. And because old hydraulics fail at the worst times, the system also has manual backup controls, meaning crews have to be trained not just to fire fast, but to keep firing when things break. Rate of fire is not machine gun artillery. In typical sustained use, it is about 1 round every 2 minutes, with short bursts faster if crews are drilled and the ammo chain is tight. And the vehicle itself carries only 2 rounds internally, so you are always feeding it from support. But none of those limits change the core reality. When a 203mm round lands, it changes the ground. This is where the story gets even uglier for Russia, because the M110 package is not just heavy, it is cost-efficient for the damage it can inflict. The Greece package was framed around roughly $230 million for 60 howitzers, plus ammunition. Even if you only do rough division on the 150,000 rounds alone, you are talking about low thousands per round, before you even count what a single hit can do to armor, depots, or massed infantry. Another report said, Greece priced each M110A2 around 520,000 euros. The point is not the exact accounting. The point is return on investment. If Ukraine uses heavy shells to break a few key positions, erase a staging area, or smash a cluster of vehicles, the hardware pays for itself in battlefield effect. And Ukraine is fighting a war where financial pressure matters almost as much as ammunition pressure. EU leaders agreed to a €90 billion loan package, about $105 billion, for Ukraine's needs over 2026 to 2027. But Kyiv still faces large budget gaps and constant funding uncertainty. That context makes cheaper, high-impact firepower even more valuable. The 52nd Artillery Brigade is not a one-gun unit. It already fields Ukrainian-made long-range artillery, like the 2S-22, Bodana, and systems like the RM-70 Vampire. The logic is layering. Bodana reaches deep for depots, command posts, and fixed nodes. Vampire saturates troops and equipment concentrations. M110 brings the heavyweight punch for hardened or high-value targets that lighter munitions may not crack as reliably. Reporting also linked the brigade's work to eastern sectors, including areas around Kharkiv and Kramatorsk. Kramatorsk is not just another map pin. It sits on the Donetsk fortress belt, a chain of major cities and prepared defenses that Russia has tried to crack for years. If Russia keeps trying to mass for assaults in that corridor, a 203mm gun becomes the kind of punishment tool that makes assembly areas feel like a bad idea. That is where the M110's value spikes: dense battles, hardened lines, and repeated attempts to mass men and machines. Now zoom out to how Ukraine has been shaping the ground. Ukraine's layered defensive kill zones are not just mines and trenches. They are systems, obstacles that stop armor, wire and tunnels that shape infantry movement, drones that watch everything, and artillery that punishes the routes Russia is forced to take. United 24 published a visual explainer detailing how these zones combine mines, anti-tank ditches, dragon's teeth, and layered defenses to funnel assaults. This is where 203mm starts to feel unfair. If kill zones force Russian units to bunch up, detour, and pause in exposed corridors, then heavy artillery becomes the hammer waiting at the end of the funnel. FPV drones rip into vehicles. Smaller artillery keeps pressure constant. And then the M110 lands the haymaker, 200 pounds of explosive weight, into the exact places Russia is forced to occupy. That is how an old Cold War gun becomes a modern execution tool. It does not replace drones. It completes the trap. Russia has been trying to fight this war with mass and pressure like it is stuck in another era. Ukraine is responding with systems that punish mass, drones overhead, obstacles on the ground, and now 203mm shells that can break hardened positions on command. The M110 is not new. But on this battlefield, it is exactly the kind of weapon that can turn Russia's habits into losses.